Hey, how's it going guys? Noah back with Grandma's Tech, and today we're going to be talking about smartwatches. So the main functionality of a smartwatch is to deliver all your phone's notifications on your wrist. So if you get a text, it'll pop up on your wrist, and from there you'll be able to see who texted you, you'll be able to reply, or you'll just be able to dismiss the message completely. So that was the main function, just showing the notifications on the wrist without having to pull out your phone. And now we're going to take a look at their history. So the first smartwatches came from a company called Pebble. And you might not have heard of Pebble, but basically they were one of the OGs in the smartwatch company. And their smartwatches helped other manufacturers build their smartwatches. So they were like the originals when it came to smartwatches. So Pebble wasn't that well known and their watches didn't sell a lot, but it was a great first step in the smartwatch industry. So the next big announcement for smartwatches came in 2014 with the introduction of the LG G Watch and the Moto 360. And these watches were important because they were launching from Google and they had Google's operating system Android Wear 1.0. So this was the next big step for the smartwatches. Now, the Moto 360 and the LG G Watch did sell a little bit better than the Pebble watches, but they still weren't mainstream. Like if I saw somebody on the train with a Moto 360 on, I'd be like, oh, maybe they're really into tech like I am, and they're like really ahead of the game here. But it still wasn't something that a lot of people, a lot of normal, maybe non-techie people would be wearing. So then after the announcement of Android Wear for these two watches, then more watches started pushing Android Wear to fit with their watches. So like Samsung had some and Huawei made some eventually. And then in 2015 we got one of the biggest announcements in smartwatch history. It was the announcement of the Apple Watch. And that watch sold like crazy. There were multiple variants of it and people were just buying it as much as they buy iPhones. It was crazy. The first few weeks it was out, all kinds of people were buying this watch because it's from Apple and they trust Apple and they know Apple makes good stuff. So why not buy this watch? The Apple Watch is probably one of the only smartwatches that you would see on a daily basis. Like after the Apple Watch came out, I'd go on the train, a lot of people had this on. So it did really well. So that was 2015. And also in 2015 we got another Moto 360 version 2 for Motorola running still Android Wear 1.x. But then in 2016, smartwatches got quiet. Us tech heads were waiting for Moto 360 version 3 to come out, but it never did. And LG didn't put out any new watches, so really the only Android Wear watches we were left with was from random companies like Fossil and Michael Kors. Like, those are actual watch brands and jewelry brands, and what are they doing making smartwatches? And yes, Apple did come out with the Apple Watch Series 2, but it wasn't really that great. It's just a really minor step from the Apple Watch version 1, so it's not that big of a deal. So in 2016, smartwatches died, and it made people think that they were never going to be revived again. Nobody really cared about them anymore. But just a few days ago, LG put out two new watches that could totally revive the smartwatch game again. So the new watches that LG put out was the LG Watch Sport and the LG Watch Style. And the real excitement behind these watches is that it's running Android Wear 2.0. And Android Wear 2.0 has much more functionality than Android Wear 1.0, and it really just changes the whole feel and functionality of the smartwatch. With Android Wear 2.0, you don't always need to have your phone on you in order to be able to use your watch. With 2.0, the watch will run independently from your phone. It'll connect to the cellular and Wi-Fi networks depending on where you are, and it'll pull all your notifications from your phone, even if you left your phone at home for the day. There's much more functionality with Android Wear 2.0. You can run apps from it, so like Uber or any other apps you might have. You can text and call still even if you don't have your phone. And now you can finally Android Pay with your watches, at least with these new LG watches. So that is great. I love seeing advancements in mobile payments because I'm a big fan of that too. So these new smartwatches from LG are really important right now because of the new operating system, Android Wear 2.0. It's really important for the future of smartwatches, and maybe Motorola will step in and finally make a Moto 360 version 3. Huawei might make a Huawei Watch 2, and other manufacturers just get right back on the train again, making the good smartwatches that they made in previous years before. The fact that you don't need your phone all the time to have your watch to work is an excellent step, and the fact that it can run independent apps is also a great step. I think it'll attract more people when it comes to smartwatches. So as long as LG does good with sales here with their LG watches, Hopefully Motorola will step in with the Moto 363, and maybe Huawei Watch with the Huawei Watch 2. Other manufacturers, I know if they implement Android Wear 2.0, they can really make it great, and they can really make a lot of sales if they can attract the customers that they need. So for the past few years, I felt like smartwatches, even though a lot of people bought the Apple Watch, I felt like it was still a tech enthusiast toy. And I used to wear my Moto 360, and I have to admit, it was basically all you can do was have your notifications on your wrist. But Android Wear 2.0 changes all of that, and it's much more useful, and I do think it'll attract more people. So I'm feeling good about the start of 2017, and hopefully smartwatches will pick up right back where they left off. So that is it for today, guys, and I'll talk to you guys later.